this recording. Alright, cool. Are you ready, kids?
Yep.
Alright. So, when we go over like a lot of these like VOD reviews, right? We kind of preach this whole like space thing, space. And it kind of occurred to me that like it's a really abstract concept to think about, especially when you haven't really like been introduced to such a thing like in a proper way. It's also like a really hard thing to just explain in general. But luckily, this scrim provided some really good examples of kind of what we're talking about. So I kind of want to go through at least, like I said, attacking on Gibraltar on point A for you guys, and their attack on Gibraltar on point A, and we could see kind of the differences in what happened. Quick question for all of you. This point A, how many fights do you guys think you had?
On attack?
Yeah.
Like actual fights, probably not as much as we think.
Give me a number.
I'm gonna say 3. 3 actual fights.
I was gonna say 2.
You guys had 5 fights at this first point. 5. That's like a lot. Because think about it this way, right? Whenever you're like attacker, you're pushing a payload. If you win a fight and the opponent wins the fight, who's kind of like ahead? You think it'd be you guys, right? Because you're gaining, like, the fight you won, you got, like, cart push, right? So you guys could win, like, the exact same amount of fights, but because, like, you have some sort of end game, some sort of goal that you're pushing along as you go, you're usually better off trading fights. Generally, as an attacker, when you're trading fights, you guys are better off because you're gaining percentage or pushing a cart or, like, completing this objective slowly but surely. You guys had a lot of fights, and you didn't even make it to the first point.
I think also on that note, I kind of want to have all of you walk through and what ended up keeping you from progressing further. Because, like, there are a lot of fights that you guys, like, won, like, kind of to Cool Pups. Or actually, like, you weren't actually losing that many fights, but you weren't able to actually push through what happened and like what you could have done. You can start there.
Nice.
And also to be clear, like I kind of want to try this to see how it goes. Like, kind of want all of you to thoughts in like for your role and what you did and what your thought process was, and like talk through.
Alright. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yep.
Like, I see the trans on the bridge. I don't see anybody else though.
Was Lair
I'm gonna
hanging out for anybody else?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out, Laris.
Okay, let me. I don't know what I can do though.
I mean, I think it's
Quietly
for the...
too.
I think it's the server settings. Just because, like...
Oh, is it East Coast now?
Yeah,
It
we're
might be.
East Coast here. Let me...
Because like, Tegs was cutting out for me earlier.
Is Tags? Oh, he is.
Hello. How's this now? I've moved it to the south.
Let's see if that works better.
Alright.
Alrighty.
So...
Here's the door.
Open the door for you.
We're actually not like, alright, so
There's a
just
Sombra
before we
as
get too far in, we're not actually gonna go that much. We're just gonna play the first fight, and then Freddy start us off with we were thinking,
Oh,
etc.
God.
etc.
Put on a smile. Let's go.
Alright. Can you mute that by any chance?
I thought I put it down super low, but apparently there's no such thing as that.
Just put it on vibrate, lol.
Put it vibrate silence.
It is on vibrate.
Alright.
No.
Cater, it's fine.
I'm ready when you are.
Alright.
Just behind you guys on bridge.
Winston up top on boxes.
And so I remember when we would play Gibraltar all the time, we always
behind
want to
us.
Winston
get on that high ground and just see what's going on. And they're still up there. Pilot attack on there. It's just there, I guess we were waiting for something to happen, which some did.
He was got no jets of thing.
Monkey. Stop monkey.
Really saying we're all just trying to follow up on our call-outs here.
You guys way over aggressive. You guys can push now.
Nobody's pushing the card at all. It's fine, we haven't won the fight completely yet, but now we should probably push the card.
I mean, this is kind of like an interesting like thing to look at, right?
That one.
These fucking controls. Oh my god.
Here's the door.
So like, you guys jump in, you try to take like this high ground. You end up getting forced off because there's this tracer behind you pumping in damage. But then like, we continue to watch, right?
Someone behind us.
Winston jumped.
This Sombra's back here, pulling your backline back.
And they're still up there.
But pause it here. So like,
Yeah.
this is kind of a great example of like a defense taking space, right? Because like, look at, they're gonna be in pink, because like they own this high ground. You're essentially confined to this like area right here. All the fighting is happening in here. You can't leave this box because all of them are up here. Their supports and like they're healing out from back here. They push you into this box, and regardless of whether or not you win the fight, like the card's here, you're not pushing cart. They're preventing you from like going to the cart. Now granted, this fight is really kind of sloppy on their part just because
He
like
was got no jets of thing.
they're a little bit split themselves, and Freddy, you actually kind of do a great job of like being up here. You're taking like all this attention up here, but at the same time, like, again, the fight is happening in this like box, and it's not on the cart. It's not where you want to be. I mean, there is, not saying that all fights have to happen on the objective, but they're making it so that the fight happens before the objective. This is literally like in front of your spawn.
Right, so question time. Where could you guys have, like, look at where you guys are, right, and where they are. Looking at this picture, where would you move yourself? A better advantage of the space that you do have. Room. Let's go first.
We could all try to take that high ground. I mean, maybe go into the room after the Somber gets killed and go up the stairs for the people that can't get up there easily.
Like,
Clear that.
I'm gonna borrow control for a second.
Yeah, good nuts.
It's actually their Anna. Right, so their entire team is pushed super far forward. All right, so Pores, which is, honestly, this is a pretty decent place. For Anna, they're, I can't even see. Lucy, okay, so their healers are actually both here. This is their Lucio and Anna. Let me erase this. Oh, that's huge.
Oof.
These are their supports. Narrow the thing. Pores is up here with them with the tracer, which is good. So the rest of you, starting with who's on right now. Moon.
Yep.
Where could you be?
I have no idea. I just got on. I'm not even in the
Okay.
session yet.
Right. Then Tegs. Tegs, you're right here. Where would you be instead? Like, looking at this from top down, what would you change?
I would try to probably be closer to Freddy and help him with the supports. That way,
Oh, I guess, like, take control for a second. Where do you want to, like, and just, like, draw it out for me?
yeah. So I would probably be like right in there. That way, if I was taking too much damage, I could dash down to the mini, or dash back to the supports if I needed to. But I'm
Right.
still putting pressure on, which
Okay.
would cause their tanks to drop back, hopefully.
Cater, where
I
are
would-
you?
What?
Do you remember?
Like, emotionally or physically?
In this game.
I thought I was up top.
Can I have control back?
Okay, I see you.
Yeah, you're like.
All right. In that corner. All right. You look like you're going up to help Pores on the catwalk.
Yeah, I was heading up there.
Yep.
Or
Be or
what am I
not.
looking at?
I thought it was okay. I was actually heading towards the stairs. I wasn't in the building. Yeah, I was heading towards the stairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's outside right now.
Hi.
Did you say why?
Like what? Yeah. Like what was your goal? in
I was
heading
trying to
towards
get up
there?
behind them without walking through and being detective.
Okay. Seeing where everything is now, like knowing their supports are on the catwalk with the tracer and the tanks are down on the ground in front of the spawn. Would you change where you are?
Yeah. I probably should be closer to the team trying to hack the supports off of Freddy's attack or hacking Tracer out of being able to blink away from him and get her health back.
Ports or the tanks? Diva's a free hack, right?
Yeah, but I feel like Pores has 3 on him and they can all keep each other up.
We'll come back to that. All right. So, Moon, your turn. Are you up and running?
I'm on visor, but all I can see is the Overwatch main menu screen.
I need to like refresh a few times, or actually, hang on. Whoever, do you want to like try playing it to see if it?
I tried.
This is like kind of weird if you
Marky,
come in like.
Oh, there we
mid.
go. Alright, there I
You
am.
see it now? Okay, perfect. All right. Do you see where you are?
You just got no jets.
Yes, I'm right behind. Go up.
All right. We're taking a look at this from the top down and paused.
Gotcha. Oh, I know. There
Where
I
you
am.
are.
Yeah.
Where should you be instead?
Where should I be?
Like, if you could choose the place to set up right now.
I'll be right back, someone's knocking.
I mean,
Okay.
if I could choose, I would probably go like right on top of the blue boxes to the left, maybe, or closer to spawn behind that right box, just so I don't get jumped on as easy. Because,
So,
because
like,
right,
right.
standing there, somewhere right there, yeah. But also because I would choose there because the Diva and Winston just dived me. Right. where
Yep.
you sit.
Because you're right here in the middle of your team, and Tegs is like kind of trying to help you,
Yeah.
so it's kind of rough for him. And then there's Sombra is like running around somewhere in this like health pack room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing to think about is like look at where their supports are, right? So like, but they're together and they're relatively safe. For you guys, then here's Moon, you're up, and then Dove kind of like back here, right? Like Sombra is like in here somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, so like take a look at like the blue markers and where you guys actually are, and like how much of a difference that might have made for this fight. So like if Moon's over here, that means he's not getting Dove, right? That frees. Hang on. So if Moon is over here, he doesn't get Dove. Pegs up to go up here where he wants to be with Pores, and maybe they kill the supports here. It also frees Burger up from being on the ground. Elysian doesn't really have a choice, but he has Fade, so he can go kind of like wherever. So maybe Elysian is like throwing his orb up.
He might also be on card duty.
I mean, Cart's kind of free, right? Yeah, so maybe Elysian being a little bit right now too.
This is a lot
You're
of stuff.
kind of, yeah, that's a lot of stuff to mark over. But kind of what I wanted to talk over is like seeing what you see now. I think when you have a top down, it's a lot easier to think about like, oh, actually, I would have been more effective somewhere else. So the next time you guys come out, think about like in this position, right? Like take a look at where they're holding and think about like where you want to be in this space.
Well, here I got a good idea. Can I have control back?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Even before all of this, let's walk through kind of like how did this happen? So you saw like that little box you guys had that's like all of your stuff. They're just pushing you there. How did that happen? Let's kind of like go through that, right?
So we saw them up there, and our plan was to be on there, but we saw all of them up there, and there wasn't a clear target to go for. So we all just went into like panic mode and fell off. And I kept going back up there and then falling off, trying to hook in and out. But I wasn't really calling anything out either there.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of all starts because I want to say it's like a fuck up, but like the Sombra's back here, right? She has Moon, or she's getting ready to uncloak and like get Moon. So that pulls a bunch of people back, or it should pull a bunch of people back. Like Burger should be back there helping. I see some of the DPS kind of helping out. Their team recognizes that you guys are retreating into this space, and they're like, oh, this is all ours now.
Winston jumped.
It's fine.
He's going for that mega health.
And they're still up there.
And I mean, you guys kill the Sombra. You kill her in the room, that's pretty good. But like, a bunch of you went back to do it, which is fine. Do things as a group, that's great.
Well, I'm sorry, Reggie. Sorry, I'm not.
But then it's like, what happens next? Because they decide to just keep pushing.
Eva's got no jet.
They're like, you're in this small area, we're gonna keep you here. Ooh, that was weird.
Eva's got no jets up there.
Do you get booped? Oh, you do get booped, okay.
I
feel like the Winston on their team missed the jump, that's why I fell down there.
Eva's way over aggressive. You guys can push now. Push now, the tanks are down.
I'm on the bridge again. On the bridge. The bridge is on
It's
top
kind of
of the bridge.
interesting. So can you pause for a second? It's kind of interesting. So one of the other things is like you saw how many people like went back and like how focused you guys were on like one target, right? So there's like Diva, there was Winston, and then there was Diva. Takes you guys a really long time to kill them, right? And then in the time that you're spending killing like the tanks, the rest of the team is like both supports get away. Tracer, that's like not too surprising.
That Winston has respawned already. The Sombra
Yeah, by the time-
respawn switched
so-
heroes.
When you kill the Diva, the Winston has already respawned. So it's been more than 10 seconds in between the killing of one tank and the next tank. Thoughts? What might have been the issue?
I mean, definitely think the Discord would have helped from a Zen. And then I'm trying to think.
And it does make a little bit of sense because, like, you kind of look at this comp. There's not a lot of damage going on here.
Mm.
And I mean,
Tanks are down. Way over aggressive. You guys can push now. Push now, the tanks are down. Way over aggressive. I'm down. Stop monkey. Oh crap, I'm down.
yeah, I think it's just like a lot of lack of damage. Because, like, this is like decent. This is really good target focus.
Push now, the tanks are down.
Burger, you kind of stray off a little bit. You're like firing at a Lucio when there's things behind you, but
I'm on the bridge again. On the bridge. The bridge is on top of the bridge. I'm half, by the way, behind you.
Tracer hacked.
Go back. Nice, good. Nice job, guys.
and that's all fine though because you guys win the fight. You guys are gaining like cart push.
I'm gonna hold blue.
But can you pause here? All right, so you've won the fight. It's taken a minute, but you've won. Up here, which is good because she's heading like probably to the mega health pack or whatever to take space, right? Let's see where the rest of you are. Here's what color should I use? Here's Burger. Here's your support line, which is fine. I could have sworn you were over here. Is this you? Yeah, the cart's on top of you. Okay, so that's Freddy. Here are your tanks.
Oh
They're on
shit!
the
I can't
cart.
even see that. That's so freaking.
So they're on the cart right now. Where do you guys want to take this next fight? Like, have you thought about it?
We don't. I don't think we do it, but we should be on top of the whatever. that
So
catwalk.
Tegs, you don't see him because Tegs is up here. He
Yeah.
says, "I'm gonna hold boxes." And because, can you play it forward a little bit?
Can you give it back to me? Oh, never mind. I have to take it.
Yeah.
Come grab the big house back.
And that's kind of just the thing in general. Like, you guys win that fight, and like all of you are just pushing cart, and you're just like conceding.
Yeah. So Freddie, remember when you were asking to be healed, but you're on the cart?
Yeah.
Or you could have been, like, here. Here to meet them, potentially, and Burger should really be here with you. Okay, that looks kind of weird in the pink, but
BNP, PT oil. That's terrible.
yes, exactly. Exactly. Tags, and then ideally Cater is like on this side of the catwalk watching like this door, that door.
That's why.
Or maybe even you go. You know how there's like the other like doorway. You go behind toward second point toward their spawn and like hack a support on the way out. Like this Lucio who's lagging behind a little bit. That's like an easy hack target.
Like behind, yeah. And then also, so Moon on Anna you can't see it from here. The Moon on Anna, especially because you have a Sombra still, trying to make my way to the server room or setting up on the stairs at least, so that you can back into it, and have that mega to help you, while Elysian pushes card.
Yeah, and if we had an Anna Zen, that makes that whole contesting up there with us two like so much easier. The Discord on Winston and logging live.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll not think about that for a second. We just want to think about 1 second. Being sick sucks. We just kind of want to think about like
Monkeys on the high ground.
you guys had won a fight, and you should be like preparing for the next fight. You should be like saying we're gonna engage here, or we're gonna pester them like toward the spawn. Like that's what Cater can do. Like you can hack someone and force people to like turn around and look at you. They're not gonna get a point because they have to deal with you, right? You like hack a Lucio, he's useless. You're just killing him.
In the beginning of that, did you see how both tanks went from the cart up here? And then look at where you guys now. So you jumped up, you're already jumping down again, and you just burned your cooldown so you don't have them, right? Here? Like, if you just, like, walk around the corner. Let me erase that, actually. So if you had, like, walked around the corner and jumped up here to, like, just prep the space for this next fight, you would still have your cooldowns, and then you can jump wherever you need to. You can jump for damage. You can, like, fall off and jump back on again. And maybe this McCree dies.
It would also make make it a lot harder for the Winston to come out of the die because we're
Exactly.
pressuring.
Because as he is,
So,
he just
tanks-
walks out and he just gets to jump on cart.
Yeah.
Yep. So even though the cart is like over here, right? This is the space that you need to keep clean. It should be setting up in a way that allows you to like and prevent them from getting on it so that the cart can keep going. Does that make sense?
It's this weird dichotomy of what we're saying, like, you got to play objectives in these fights. Like, of course, you still got to push the cart. That's like the objective. But you got to do it in a way that like you don't sit on the cart. You sit up ahead. You think about where they're gonna like come from, where they're gonna engage. You got to prepare yourself, and just deny them. Make it insanely hard for them to actually like touch the cart. Because as it is, Winston jumps the corner, presses shift, and he's on cart. Like, you don't want it to be that easy for him, right? What if I whoop him? Why can't I get control?
No, no.
Thank you.
I'm dead. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got me in the flare.
One free up top.
Trace,
I don't think he has any.
Run away. Run away if you can. Die if you can.
use pulse.
Actually, no, I'm just gonna die.
I do like that, though. At least you guys, like, you recognize, oh, we, like, lost the fight early. You guys are trying to get out. You're trying to die.
Tracer McCree on Lucio.
Yeah, they swapped off Sam.
So watch what happens here, right?
I also got primal.
I
So the cart's all the way up here. Look where they're set up. They're set up in front of the cart. They're set up on this high ground. They're preparing to meet you before you even touch the cart.
Is this fight?
Plus tap 4 ults.
Be pretty close to
Tracer up top.
Is it gonna
Tracer
be?
up top.
The Diva's up here.
Cool.
Lucio up top.
The Diva's
They want to take this fight here because this fight that you're taking here, that means you're not touching the cart. You're not gaining progress. Regardless of whether they win the fight or not,
Alright, I got
they have already dictated where this fight is happening.
On a hacked.
Got the Lucio.
And honestly, because they pushed you so far back already, it doesn't even matter that they lose because they're gonna get another fight.
Yeah.
Like they've accomplished their mission of
Nobody pushed the cart
positioning
at
so
all.
that they can look at where the card is, and the fact that they will be able to get another fight where they respawn.
It's not that no
And you guys,
Sorry, it's not that no one pushed the cart. It's that you guys couldn't push the cart because you already had an engagement before anyone could reach the cart.
and
Regardless
also
of
you
like,
burned 4 ults to win this fight, and it's
That's-
not the last
that's
fight that
beside
you're
the-
gonna have to.
that's beside the point, though.
I mean, but it's
It
not.
is, yeah.
But it isn't, because here's the thing: you've used all your resources to win this fight, right? So you finally win it. Not actually going to be able to take advantage of it because cart's sitting where it is right now. Really have anything for the next fight when they come in again, and then they're just going to win that one.
And essentially, what they have done is they've guaranteed themselves another fight.
Oh, not just guarantee themselves another fight, but another fight that they're going to win.
5 ults, so that was a little bit of an overcommitment. Lucy, yeah, they're contesting.
Monkey cart.
Monkey hacked.
The monkey don't die. Monkey don't die.
Monkey has ult. Monkey has ult.
Still hack.
High noon.
He's on top, damn it. Okay.
I'm gonna ult them.
I missed you, John.
So we can kind of look at what happened there.
Lucy, yeah, they're contesting.
Monkey cart.
So you guys do kind of a decent job where like the monkey jumps in, you collapse on him, but the monkey has done his job. That's what Winston does. He jumps and makes an area. He makes a threat or a nuisance of himself. He wants things to almost collapse onto him, so that now there's all this area. His supports can hang out here and support him for free. His DPS can now freely enter this conflict without like taking any poke damage on the way in.
Monkey hacked.
The monkey don't die.
Monkey has ult. Monkey has ult.
Still hack.
Now there's this high noon, but like everyone's here, so now they have slowly crept up all of this space. They're pushing you guys back.
High noon.
He's on top, damn it. Okay.
Regardless of what happens with that high noon.
I'm gonna ult them.
I missed you, John.
Like you kind of see what happens is that like the Winston has made it safe for his team to come and support him. Because you guys collapse into him, which you're supposed to. He did his job right, you guys did your job right. But it just leaves up all this extra space for his team to just support him, be free, not get pressured.
John,
Oh wait.
no.
No,
They used,
Like,
they used nano boost.
Accident.
And then I don't get a good view of this, but again, this is something they do really well.
And
Cart's here.
both have
They
ult.
probably got Diva bomb.
Look at where they take the engage. Again,
Yeah, I hacked.
they want to fight before you guys even touch cart.
I'm gonna dive. 3, 2, 1. Diving.
Alright, I'm gonna jump up there and ult
And you're
that.
taking the engagement up there.
She used bomb, she used bomb, she used bomb. I'm gonna dive back up there, stay up.
Look out for Empt.
Dive,
Yeah,
get it. Get it.
Diva has ult, Winston has ult, Creed does not, Tracer does.
Trace on, she's gonna
Monkey,
kill him.
I have bomb.
I have go.
Here's a
I'm
behind
still
us.
even.
There's stuff behind us.
Focus. Is
They
your
have no health packs up
still
here.
even.
Monkey, pop primal.
You're marking on payload. Help tanks, there's Devon tanks behind you.
Lucio hacked.
I need help.
Lucio doesn't have ult.
I cannot aim
There's a
today.
Diva behind you.
It's funny because these are like fights that we're tactically winning, but
Yeah.
it's too many.
Like these, like, that was the weird dichotomy about, like, this whole attack in general. Is that you guys traded fights, and even this last fight was kind of close. They just, like, eventually out-sustained you, and there's a soldier pumping out damage for free. But, like, the fact that they get to take engagements on their terms, they get to take it in spaces that are far away from the cart to where you guys can't touch it, means they guarantee multiple conflicts. They guarantee multiple fights.
The pro. Oh, I guess not. Okay. Oh, damn! I thought I landed that asleep.
They're just buying so much time.
Pretty much.
Okay.
That's another weird thing to kind of like think about too with Overwatch is like when they take all these like forward fights like
You
that,
gotta make sure you hack.
they eat your clock.
Because we're not gonna be mobile, we can just dive on it.
Yeah, if we're gonna run the summer, I feel like that is probably.
Why inverted controls for some reason? What happened? What? Where is inverted?
So let's kind of look at
So
I'm gonna
I
go
guess
over to
like
the big-
pause for a sec. Let's go over that we kind of talked about, right? So like things that made it difficult for you guys to win. It being one of them being just like the comp that you were running, right? And the general like low damage nature of it. They were coming at you guys like you were dying a lot faster than they were, even though your target focus was like fine, like it was actually pretty decent, but you just had a much harder time like killing them than you. And then also the taking of engagements like way forward of where they needed to be meant that you guys were like kind of taking it and getting pushed back, and they were engaging onto you as a defense. So as like a defensive dive, that's basically what you want to do, and they did it really well in terms of execution.
to the big health pack.
Alright. Let's just hold back.
Hey, we can look at it this way too. Like, you and them start
Turn that off.
your defense in the exact same spot.
In here right now.
Watch out for Creed, they'll probably
Okay,
start.
Freddie, where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Fava May, we have Winston, Diva, Ana,
Widow.
Yo, no.
But what they do, and besides getting a pick on Elysian, is they're immediately up here. At least the Winston is. They're saying the fight is gonna happen here. Which means this is all theirs now. By comparison, when you guys attacked, you guys jumped up here. You guys wanted this. You guys wanted this top bridge. And all they did was push you out to where the fight happened right here.
Get monkey. Winston up top.
Come, let's go.
Still even, no need to panic.
So what happens there then is like they take the fight up here. They have all of this space to push the cart. And they kind of get to push it for free because no one can apply pressure at the cart or at their supports. You guys are just getting pushed back by the tanks. Only 2 people have died this fight. But like look how much like further on the cart they are in like the 20 seconds they've had compared to you guys 20 seconds in. 20 seconds in, you guys were like still killing a Sombra.
Still
I
healing.
lost it.
Lucio low.
At least
Lucio
he's
low.
low. He's low, man.
Monkey, 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 monkey.
No jump, no jump, no jump.
They're
Don't
taking the
get
objective.
knocked
Back
off.
down, back down. They're taking the objective. Get
I
the
thought. Damn it.
And that was kind of just an unfortunate splitting of you guys right there, where the tanks just went down here, and everyone else went around backside.
I got pictures.
I don't think, did anybody call it the May either? Because I remember when I saw the May, that was the first, I was like, oh shit, they have a May. So if you call
I
it that,
called the
that's
May when they came out.
But look at, like, they won that fight, right? And look at them all pushing up toward the end of the objective. One person's on cart pushing cart, but they're already pushing you guys back. And then watch what the diva does. She keeps pushing.
Keep pushing us.
Her, Lucio, and the May, they just keep pushing. She's bombing just to keep you guys back there, and they just get to push for free.
So yeah, I'm a touch from the top.
Widow's on cart on a.
That's something I know we don't do enough as a team.
The winner.
Oh, they walled me off.
Freddy or Freddy had.
And this kind of gets to be like
On me, Diva sleeping.
a very scrambled fight.
Sorry.
There's no target focus.
What is your problem?
They got you guys split apart.
I need decent purple. Decent purple. I'm purple. I
Use
bomb.
beat,
I
beat.
bomb. Diva's on me. Diva's on me. Bomb using bomb.
Wait, so beats him.
Lucio
wait.
hacked.
Ah, dang, I'm frozen. Sorry. Dead too. I got back in mech. I feel like.
It's also like at this point, you know they have a May, right? But no swaps have happened. Haven't changed your comp or thought about like have a problem. I mean, honestly, and now they have even more like health than you guys do, and they have a widow on top of that to for like an insta-gib. I would be going like versus May. I actually think the Moira is fine because they don't have as much like high ground contest themselves, and then also you can like get out. I would be swapping either the Anna or the Moira to something with a defensive ult so that you can like protect people out, and then Tegs and Cater should probably be swapping off too, unless they're able to deal with the Widow and or the May.
Yeah, like
Going maybe like Farah, maybe Junk. Like really, it just depends on what you guys feel comfortable dealing with her on.
there's actually this situation too. I mean, this is more of a personal thing, but if you can get someone to like occupy the Widow, Reaper does a decent job. He can like chunk down Mays who are trying to get up close to freeze, and then you do really well against the tanks as well. And it's just hard to play around with the Widow, but if you get someone to occupy Widow, then Reaper gets to like shred half their team.
And I think it's like the same thing with like Farah, right? Like Farah would be great against the entire rest of the team. It's just like the Widow you have to worry about. So someone needs to be on the Widow so that the other DPS can basically destroy the ground team.
But I mean, outside of that, you see the main point we're trying to make here, right? Is like how they got to push up and they got to get in your face and dictate where fights were gonna happen.
Like we got kills.
You guys got
That
kills,
didn't matter. You know?
and it doesn't matter because like you're not getting kills in the places or in like places that let you then convert that to like actual advantage.
The actual win, yeah.
Or like when you
Yeah,
do
we
get kills that you can convert into advantage, you don't because you don't take the proper positioning to like follow up.
Like,
Last week.
there's nothing to be necessarily ashamed about here
We're all
because
really
we
switched.
can get the kills, we just can't put the strategy in, and that's
Are we
where
swapping?
we're complaining.
Yeah. And I mean, watch this whole second point too, real quick.
Yeah, we got destroyed.
Look at what they're doing. There's 4 of them, all the way up here.
It's not doing that. But what we're calling.
Okay, so walk me through this idea of the Rhine Zarya.
Okay, can we watch this whole point real quick before we get into that?
Are they gonna beat
They have walls.
They got walls, yeah.
walls until 4:05?
Oh, they got Widow and Diva up there.
Thanks, need you.
Oh, and Winston. Oh, okay.
Man, we can't play Ryan in this.
Alright.
We have to dive.
Or Lucio's hacked.
Like, we could play Ryan the last point, but we just gave him that whole second point victory because of that switch.
Alright, that's my fault.
So like, it was partly a byproduct of like going to that one to that Rhine Zarya, but like look at what they do. They've like they take top of ship.
Oh, what we're calling it.
They're pushing you guys from as soon as you walk into the building,
Sorry, man.
and they just get to push like one. They get all of this for free already,
They have walls.
They got walls, they got walls.
and then even when they come around that corner,
Until 4
like they get to spam you from high ground. They get to poke you from up here, and you guys can't actually engage on the cart.
Oh,
This is like, again, partly a product of like the Rhine switch, but this is like a fantastic like look at like how they're taking and like occupying space and forcing engagements on their own terms. Alright, now we can ask you guys.
dive, we're not calling out dives good enough.
Are we swapping? Are
We're
we
not
swapping?
diving together.
Ryan Zarya?
Alright, so walk us through that. Back to Lyris's question.
I think actually, since the Legion called it, I don't know if he's here.
He is not.
Okay. Any of you have thoughts about?
I didn't really want to switch, but I didn't want to be toxic either.
I think maybe he was going, thinking maybe the Widow was a problem and trying to get a shield to.
It's like, okay, so the switch actually, from a certain perspective, it works in the sense that like you have a shield for the Widow, you have a Zarya for the Mei. Some kind of counter against like the DPS that they have, right? But part of the issue is that with that is like point B on Gibraltar is just it's not a good base because of spaceship.
Yeah.
Big that there's no like a Rhine shield just isn't going to cover you against a Widow sightline because she can go pretty much anywhere and just shoot over it for free. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like
There's an idea and there's a little bit of thought behind it, but there's not like taking the current situation, taking the map into account. We're just thinking like on a straight hero to hero swap. Like, oh, we need a shield because there's a Widow, and we need a Zarya because there's like a Mei and a Diva, but that's the only context that you guys think about. You don't think about the grand scheme of the map and realizing what advantages do their comp have over a more static comp like a Rhine Zarya.
honestly, even if you guys did go shield tank, or I mean, you know what I mean. If you wanted to swap out your tank clan, I taken like Orisa Diva. You have someone that can like contest high ground with Genji and Sombra, and Orisa shield, like just like Orisa actually has range to sort of control the space. And given that half their team is sort of low mobility, it's easier for you to at least like deal with them, and then with the anti CC also, so the Mei can be okay.
Targets is not doing that.
But we're calling it good, we're just not committing.
Yeah. Alright, I'm back. That's all I have, Nana.
Can blade this thing?
Nana, wait.
Do you guys have any questions, any thoughts? This is honestly like all I wanted to go over today was this whole idea of like how they got to push into you guys and how they got to take space, how they got to manage that space. You guys have any questions on that?
I mean, what's the engagement supposed to be in a situation like that specifically? Like, what do? Would you just dive on top of the spaceship if we were still the same characters?
You can you can jump onto spaceship and take the tanks head on, and then at that point it kind of becomes a battle of sustain, right? Like, can your healer sustain you more than their healers can? And for this positioning, it's actually not like a terrible idea, just because
They got walls, dude.
if you guys take it on the front side of this spaceship, your Anna can like chill right here and fire up into you. Hopefully, I mean, unfortunately, the Moira isn't gonna do anything, really. But like their healers outside of a Lucio can't really live up here. So at that point, it's like an Anna against a Lucio who's gonna heal a little bit more.
What about Mercy?
Mercy can definitely follow you up, but it'd be slightly dangerous for her with like the Widow, with the Widow sightlines. Like it's, if you can, how do I put it? If you're confident enough in your ability to know where because all Mercy really has to do is know where Widow is and avoid the sightline. Right? So, I mean, that's easier said than done. Cool. So it's just kind of like, when you're playing Mercy, who is dangerous to you and how you avoid them as much as possible. And that's just part of playing Mercy, right?
Another thing you can do,
honestly,
going back to the idea of like the engagement, the other thing you can do is just try to take cart like from underneath them. So dive onto cart and then make them either peel back or see if they'll commit forward against like one of your supports or something like that. And then it's a matter of you got to win the fight on the cart before the tanks finish off whatever support's down there and then come back for you. So you're essentially betting your dive against their dive. But that's a little bit harder because what's sitting on the cart but a May.
So one other thing, actually, typing in chat. One other thing for Sombra on defense that you can do to deny space is hack the health pack. So if you hack the mini up here of your team that fights in this room has an advantage, and the other team has like little to no sustain without their own healers having line of sight to them, and it like forces them to take the fight elsewhere because they to win in this room will take a lot more effort for them. And so that's like something like even on point A, right? You saw that the Diva, I think, went for the mega under the bridge and got it. Part of how she survived for so long. So not saying that you necessarily need to like keep that mega hacked, but it's like an opportunity to think of, even though hacking like a health pack isn't like as big of an advantage as it used to be. You can still like really zone people out of spaces and force them into bad positions.
I mean, to combat this, we could have really given LaFera Mercy a shot. I mean, we just need to keep the Widow in check.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's again, going, at the end of the day, when we get to, like, play UGC or things like that, hopefully we'll get to a point where we're given, like, a map pool, and we'll spend, like, the week in scrims, like, coming up with comp ideas or coming up with strategies, and we try to execute. The reason, like, these early scrims, we want you guys to kind of, like, think abstractly about, like, what comps you're going to run and what things you're going to do is because even the best laid plans fail from time to time. And we can't coach you, like, in the middle of a map. If we, like, have a strat for defending the point on Blizz World and it just falls apart, we get rolled. We need you guys to, like, come up with an idea and, like, think about how they're executing their plan and what, like, plan you guys can do to execute back. We want you guys to get into this habit of thinking about it in that way. Which is why we don't really provide direction in terms of, like, a plan or, like, what comps you guys use.
Also, to be honest, like, when you guys do Numbani, you kind of do this, right? Like, against the Bastion comp. Like, Porter says, yeah, I can't play with this, and he swaps being able to push. So, like, stuff like that, just, like, really thinking about it critically, making swaps if you need to. Also understanding what works and what doesn't. Because I think a lot of this, too, is, like, this, like, space taking is, like, be safe and, like, protect each other and play really defensively, which is great. But then you also need to think about, like, this really is a good offense, right? So it's like, how do you actually move forward and not just, like, people, we're good now.
We don't even have like an opening play. I don't think we've ever had like a legit like we're gonna take this space and do that. That's our new homework. On top of playing with each other.
Yeah.
It's like doing an opening play and a quick play or something. Just to do it.
And it's kind of weird too because like for a lot of you, this is your first time like being on a team, or like you're coming back from being on a team from having not been on one. This is how organized Overwatch works. It's a much faster game. It's a much more unforgiving game than ladder is. You don't solo carry games in like organized Overwatch. It just doesn't work like that. You gotta actually play your role as your role is designed, and you need to be a teammate. And even then, like, you still need to have a plan. But I mean, like, when you guys like watch like pro games and stuff like that, and you get ideas for those things, that's all cool. I mean, feel free to bring it up in a scrim and be like, hey, I saw, or like before a scrim, because we hopefully give you a map pool like ahead of time, and then we'll say, oh, I saw like this strat, or like I saw this play, we should give it a try, and describe it to people like a day or two ahead of time, you know? But at the very least, I wanted to get the point across of like, we use the word space, 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 space all the time, space everywhere, occupying this space, taking this space, losing this space. And I kind of hope this was a good like illustration of it, because it's a weird, again, it's an abstract concept to think about, and it's really hard to put into words. And I hope this very much like showed you what they did.
And why it worked. Any other thoughts, questions?
Gucci.
But, yeah, I guess like overall too, it's like hopefully that all made sense, and seeing it like especially from this perspective was helpful. I'd say like while we have you guys here, like any thoughts, I guess, about what you would.
You cut out there. What was that?
Right. I was saying, do you have any thoughts about what you would want to try next time?
I mean, just overall plan, actual planning it out. I think, at least for yeah, comps. What's what's the objective? Not necessarily because I know I'll just be like, all right, I'm gonna be here and let's do it. You know, I'm talking about myself too as well. We need to.
We'll start with something like a very basic, rather than like, well, kind of related to a plan. Think very hard, or like talk with your between fights. So you guys win a fight, instead of like just all of you riding cart or sitting on an objective. Like, really think about
where you want to be next.
How you want to set up the next fight.
If you were the other team, where would you want to be? And then how do you keep them from getting there?
I feel thing that their backlines are putting pressure on the supports, while the rest of like let's say like two DPS, two healers like keep the DPS alive, keeping pressure on their front line, so they would have to choose when to deal.
Is he like actually literally super quiet for anyone else? Because I caught like.
No,
I just turned off
he's at work, so he can't talk.
No, that's
Okay.
That's Moon. You're living
that's
it.
Moon.
Oh wait, I thought that was. Oh.
That's not. No,
I was
that's
wondering
not.
why he's so quiet.
You're living up to your name,
God,
buddy.
He's trying not to be to be loud. Be fine.
That's so weird. Why are you so low?
I heard everything. You said.
Name checks out.
I know.
He wants to run dudes. I mean, you know, we just need to play more with each other, like as a six stack, and do those things so that way we know how to bring that up in an actual scrim.
Yeah, like if I see one thing from next scrim, the one thing I want to see is like how you behave between fights. I want to see like some semblance of preparation, even if it's not like 100% like structured down to the like microsecond of a fight. I want to see you guys like getting ready, taking position. You know,
At least like yeah, like thinking forward about what you want to do next and ourselves in place to do it. And then also, I think the other thing, I know Legion's not here, but he, during the week, I think will think quite a bit about kind of like maps and comps and like setups that he wants to try. If any of you are interested, I would highly recommend you guys like either start a thread or just like meet up sometime during the week.
we have all these.
Bounce ideas around because yeah, like we have all these channels for every single map that exists in the game. Like, you know, feel free to use it. And or like if you see something cool on like someone's stream and you're just like, oh shoot, we should totally do that, we have a hero pool for this, like pitch the idea, you know.
Hashtag
just to like think about it.
Yeah, and I saw like you guys play a little bit in like overall team play, like someone like, oh, that was you, Moon. You brought up the whole Dots thing. Very much like keep doing that stuff and like let's bring it up and let's have a plan for each map. Let's have a plan for each fight.
Alright.
Cool. That's all I had. I wanted this to be on the shorter end just because I wanted to get that one flippin' point across, and I hope I got that one flippin' point across. Any last questions, comments, concerns, or anything you want to go over? We hit record time here. We're under an hour.
Yeah, I thank you for that. I really do. You're giving me time to play some things.
There we go.
I'm gonna post in chat. I'll ask now, but I'm gonna post in chat. Who's available tomorrow night?
I will be.
Anything after 5 or 6? But before that, I cannot.
So like after 7, it's gonna be the off season by that time, right? We should probably do some 6-stack off season comp.
Alright.
Well, I will caution you that off-season comp gets really fucking weird because it's mostly people not taking it seriously.
Oh yeah, it's just another level of quick play, but we might run into another team that's trying to theory craft as well. So who knows?
Yeah, if you 6-stack, you should hopefully run into other 6-stacks. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
And we can run dotes, we can run goats, we can run bloats, you name it. We'll run it all.
There we go.
Sounds like a plan.
Alright.
Alright, cool. You have anything else, Larry?
Ready, dudes? I think, yeah, like that's pretty much it. Hopefully that was a good space, like 101/102. I know, like, we talk about it a lot, but it's like hard to visualize what it means and the impact that it has. So,
yeah,
hopefully this walkthrough was helpful.
Yeah, this is less like nitpicking how a fight goes and nitpicking like mistakes, and more of just the impact of what the opponent did this time.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, coolio.
But yeah.
Post this to YouTube, right? You should actually put like a lot of tags in space because I feel like this is an educational video for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think we need to clean it up quite a bit.
Yeah, we would go back and like re-record this and clean it up, but
send it to me, I'll edit it.
Alright, as far as I'm aware, class dismiss.
Alright.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for hanging.
Thank you for our TED Talk.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.